Hello, it's Q, and welcome back to the Gray Frequency. Today, I'm going to be talking about how I'm rebuilding my life from the bottom up, and how you can do it too, how we can do it together. I've been living in the energy of just stagnancy for the past couple of months, and I'm sick of it. I'm feeling unfulfilled with my daily routines. My work-life balance is just not cutting it anymore. I'm feeling scattered. Is it because I'm asking for too much I can chew? I mean, I want to learn French and I want to eat healthier. I don't know. I just find myself getting really overwhelmed when it finally comes to the fully painted picture on like what I really want in life, and it's scary. Like when you realize how far you have to go to get your dream, it's easy to get discouraged, and you're not wrong to feel that way. I want to talk about wanting to find a purpose. And I honestly couldn't tell you how much times I've changed like what I wanted to do with my life. It's quite funny. In high school, I wanted to be a detective, and by the end of it, I changed to an art major. And then now I wanted to get into journalism and communications. And it's funny that as humans, we're so afraid of change when we're always changing, when we're always dreaming bigger, attracting into our life change, and it's just inevitable. You know, I want to talk about wanting desires and not feeling guilty about wanting desires, and why self-doubt and feeling unworthy shows up when you want more, when you ask for more. It's important to understand that being materialistic is okay, because if it wasn't okay, you would have stayed a spirit. You know what I mean? Wanting a better life is okay, and you have to have firmness to yourself. You can't just like do it once or twice. You have to really show up and believe that you wanting your desires is okay. And it's so funny because we're so conditioned to believe that we should live within our means. But take this with a grain of salt, that like just because you don't have it in the physical doesn't mean you can't have it internally. Why can't you feel like a millionaire? You know what I mean? Even though like the external isn't there, who cares? The physical is just a projection of the internal. And when you understand that, you're able to attract what it is that you want in life. You're able to attract abundance. You're able to attract wealth. You're able to attract like love into your life as well. And if you don't believe that you deserve more, you can't get more. You know what I mean? If you have to show up for yourself, and you have to understand that what other people may think doesn't matter. You shouldn't have to limit yourself just because the world says you should. You know what I mean? That's how they keep you stuck. That's how they keep you in from changing. That's how they stop you from living the life that you desire. My whole philosophy is, if he or she has it, why can't I have it? Why can't I be famous? Why can't I be a model? You know what I mean? I'm just as good looking. And if you don't think that way, then you're never going to get further in life. It all starts with the internal, and then it comes to the external. It brings me to my next point of disciplining ourselves. You have to be disciplined. But not disciplined, because it's funny because as humans we have such a negative like relationship with this word, and I do believe it stems from how parents discipline their children, or how schools discipline their children. Like discipline isn't necessarily negative, but it's kind of neutral in a sense. I wouldn't say it's good either. It's like in between the both. Yes, it can mean the self-control that is gained by requiring rules or orders to be obeyed, but it also does mean the ability to keep working on something that is difficult, you know? Because two things can be true at once. My best friend tells me this. Two things can be true at once. But needless to say, I am craving discipline. I'm craving like consistency, a routine that actually like works, a routine that's gonna show me true change. As I said before, two things can be true at once. External change isn't as fast as internal change, and it does start with the internal. So if you don't have the internal right, then you can't expect for the external to change, which is why it's a wake-up call. You know, once I realized that everything starts with the internal, I understood that I can't keep living my life like on autopilot. I had to shake the foundation and like really reevaluate what it is that I want in life, what it is that is gonna drive me to my dreams and desires. You know what I mean? It's easier said than done, because it all comes back to how you grew up as a child, the environment you grew up in, the people who were near you, how they spoke about you, how they spoke around you, who you surrounded yourself with outside of your home, you know, at school, who are your friends, and also the type of media you consume, which is why it starts with the internal, the subconscious mind. So what exactly is the first steps we should be taking? Well, we need a routine that we can stick by, a routine that doesn't feel too far-fetched, but a routine that also is like taking us out of old cycles and putting us into a new cycle that will help us get to the goals that we want. you know? But this doesn't mean like a 20 to 30 checklist. No, I'm not saying like completely write a whole new routine, because it's hard. It's hard to get used to routines, especially when it's intentional. Getting a new job is intentional, but the routine, the schedule isn't really in your control, so you naturally adapt to the schedule that they're giving you and work around that, because you know, humans, we always adapting, and so you have to adapt to the schedule that you're building. Start small, you know. Rome wasn't built in a day. This can be by like making your bed in the morning, or even starting your day off intentionally by trying tea, like breathing into your tea. That can be a form of meditation. Breathing intention into your tea and how you're gonna start your day. You know, it's always great to start your day off with a clear slate, and this is one of the 2 ways that I kind of like incorporate this into my life. You know, it's a learning experience, so I want to share that with you. And then also heal. It's important that we heal our relationships with ourselves, but also the relationship with our inner child, our relationship with money, our relationship with trauma, or even the relationship with like your friends and family, like, or not necessarily your relationship, but your relationship and how you feel with them. You know, but I'll touch deeper into this in like future videos, because I couldn't possibly talk about it in this one video. So, and then mindset. You must change your mindset in order to expect real change and to continue to have change come into your life that's benefiting you to becoming your highest self. Because thoughts of doubt isn't gonna bring you much change. It's just gonna bring you back to where you started or below where you started, because you started by changing your mind. You know, if you're always thinking like, oh, I'm not gonna be good enough, or oh, I'm never going to be able to be as good as this person, you're never going to be as good as this person, because you're always comparing yourself to them. They don't compare themselves to you because they think they're the best, so you need to think that you're the best as well. And not to say that to be conceited, but why not be conceited, you know? I'm not saying like think you're better than everyone, but move as life as if it's you, you know? Yes, this is a shared reality, but this is a you experience, you know? I can only give as much as you will take. And from that, I'd say also setting boundaries. You need to set boundaries and able to actually heal. Like, this is a non-negotiable. Setting boundaries is so important on this journey, and people are gonna try and suck the energy dry from you and like genuinely try and bring you down, like unintentionally and intentionally as well. And this is something that I've been struggling with in the past couple of years, and even currently. Growing up, I never really had a voice in my household. Just like, I never dared to question things. I never dared to speak up about things. So it's really hard for me now in today's society, in my adulthood, that speaking up, it takes a while for me to say something. And when I finally do say something, it's too late. I've already suffered the consequences of not saying something and not having a voice, or my power be taken away from me. And I am changing that. This is something that I'm gradually breaking on, and this is something that you can work on too. So just know that you're not alone. One way we can like start by affiliating this into our life is like affirming to yourself in the mirror that you matter. Like, my voice matters. I am allowed to be heard. My boundaries are always respected, and I am constantly calling back my power to myself, you know? So set boundaries and protect your energy, because everything is energy, and your energy is important, because this is a you experience, but a shared journey, you know? You're not alone, but you are alone. You know, 2 things can be true at once. Duality. And then also the content you're consuming. The content you're consuming is definitely impacting your external, because your mind is sucking up so much things that like your subconscious mind doesn't know good from bad. Your subconscious mind doesn't know from truth from lie. Your subconscious mind is going to suck up everything and then tailor your thinking patterns, tailor your desires to those type of things, you know? If you're currently listening to sad music, or like, for example, like Billie Eilish, or like, you're going to want to listen to a lot of singers that sound similar or in that same genre of music, because you're so deep in that energy of like sad, not low vibrational, but like, yeah, sad music. You're going to feel sad. And I am a victim of this. Like, I'm not saying that like, oh, you should stop listening to this person. No, not at all. Like, it's okay to listen to songs, but don't let these songs override your emotions. It's so easy for music to change your mood. And that's why people say, be very careful, like, the type of music you're listening to, because it does affect your thinking. It does affect your internal, and then that affects your 3D, you know? And I'm changing this by maybe starting by watching, ways you can change this is by maybe starting watching more motivational content. Maybe watch more content that's tailored to what you want to do in life, you know? If you want to start a podcast, watch podcasts, watch people starting podcasts and what they do as podcasts. You know what I mean? It all comes back to the internal switching off or getting rid of the old and allowing new to come in and fulfill you. And consistency. You have to be consistent with this as well. Like, it's easier said than done, but when you start little and you take that first step, it's not as scary when you take the next step and the next step. And then by the time you get like to up here, you realize, wow, I'm more closer to the peak than I am to the bottom now. And it's because you took that first initial thought to change. And it's definitely easier said than done, as I said before. And it's easy to fall back into these loops and get stuck. But it's all about recognizing these patterns and understanding that they don't define you. It's what you intentionally think to, or what you intentionally want, that is going to shape what you're going to receive. You know, whatever your subconscious mind is toying about, it's gonna want. It's like a kid in a toy store, and their parents is gonna buy them the toy. You know, if you keep tapping the window for this one, that's the one your parents are gonna get you for Christmas, because they notice that you like it so much. You know, so I always say, change the content you're consuming for the better good of your higher self. So if this message was calling you, or even if you made it this far of the video, you're not alone. I am here with you, and I am making this enough proof that you are capable and deserving of the life you want and truly desire. And I'm so excited for us to start this journey together. So call it into action. Comment in the comment section. Comment gray if you made it this far, if you are on this journey with me. And with that, I say, stay tuned, stay balanced, and stay in the gray